story, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different to normal. This is going to be my first official Patreon post. If you're seeing this on YouTube, that means I've also posted it on YouTube. I'm still working out what exactly is going to happen with all these videos. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, the link is in the description of this video if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Patreon, hello!
My hometown has a
This
legend.
video is going to be me explaining why I think you should watch Roswell, New Mexico. It is something I react to on my YouTube channel. It has become one of my absolute favourite shows, and I know that a lot of maybe my people that subscribe to me for the Arrowverse or for Shadowhunters or for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever might not watch it. I don't know how much of a big fan base it has on my channel, but I love it, and I would like to explain to you why I think you should watch it. Okay, so when I first used to give sets of this show on Tumblr, I thought it looked quite good. I thought maybe it's going to be it's about relationships, am I going to like it? I wasn't really sure, but eventually in the summer I thought, you know what, there's not many shows on, I want to do some reacting. I loaded it up, I watched it, I fell in love with it. This show's already made me feel things about these characters. I feel like I've been watching it for more than just one episode. I knew I would like it. I knew it was the kind of show that I would enjoy, which is why I reacted to it. But, oh my goodness, I think my favourite thing about this show has to be the characters. They are all so 3D and fleshed out, and I know it's easy to say that about a lot of shows. And with this one, what I mean by that is every single character, all of the good guys, are not perfect. Every single one of them messes up and makes mistakes, but in a way that is so realistic and human, even though, spoiler alert, they may not all be human. It's just, characters feel so grounded and real, and I mean, for me at least, that is something I relate to. You know, of the main characters, I have favourites. I have 3 favourites. I won't tell you who because that's a spoiler, but I love all of the main characters so dearly, and I just enjoy their characterization so much. We're given in season 1 so much information about their backstories. You know, the main characters are all late 20s, like 27, 28, which means that, you know, it's refreshing that it's one of this sort of show that isn't set around high school students, but all of the characters have such rich backstories. They're intertwined with each other, relationships that just have so much impact and meaning. And to begin with, sure, they just kind of allude to that a little bit, but you get so much information so quickly on what formed those relationships, why they are the way they are, the background, any traumas or good memories. You know, it doesn't hold back on the information, and by the end of season 1 you have such a grounded sense of who these characters are. By halfway through season 1 even, you have such a grounded sense of who these characters are. You learn about their backstories through flashbacks. It's not like Arrow where you'd have like endless flashbacks. You know, it's nicely paced flashbacks. I'm anti-Arrow for that, but you know, they're nicely paced, but also the characters will say, often in just what feels natural, they will mention something. They will mention an altercation in their past. They'll mention something they used to do when they ran away from home. You know, their characters are just so grounded and rich. I think that's my favorite. The story is so rich, and it's just these characters. And to be honest, if you took the alien stuff out of it, because spoiler alert, if you didn't know, there was supposedly in real life at Roswell an alien crash. That's where the show is based. It's not a spoiler. If you take the alien stuff out of it, these characters will still have such rich stories that would be enjoyable to watch. But then you have the added plot. So these characters and their relationships, there's familial relationships that are just perfect and beautiful. There are romantic relationships that are wonderful, angsty messes, but I say angsty messes in the sense that they're not messes, they're brilliant and I love them. And it's just, I think, I cannot convey too much enough how much I adore these characters in different ways, and some of them surprised you. Now, like when I was watching the pilot at the very beginning, there were some characters that I was like, oh, I definitely think that's going to be my favourite character, and then 2 or 3 episodes in I was like, oh my god, no, it's this one. This character that I thought I might not even like that much is my favourite character. You know, characters surprise you. There's characters that you might think are going to be bad that turn out to be good, characters that you think are always going to make good choices might make bad choices. It's just brilliant and rewarding, and I'm not trying to say it's perfect. I don't think any show is perfect, and this one certainly has its flaws, but it is brilliant. Another thing with the show that this is my other thing that I love the most, is its plot. Its plot is fast. It moves. You know, in some shows you'd have a mystery that hung over the whole first season and you didn't get the answers until the end of the first season. In Roswell, you get answers at a rapid pace, much more quickly than the plot moves at such a pace, but it doesn't feel like, oh, now I've done the story, what's next? You keep needing more. It's one of those things that you get answers and then you have more questions, but it's so rewarding with that. And you know, things happen much quicker than you might think. You might think, oh, that's a good, oh, so that is build up they've done in this episode, that's building up for the finale, and then it happens in the next episode. It is fast paced, it doesn't leave you hanging around waiting for dramatic things to happen. The series is only 13 episodes long. I'm not entirely sure how long season 2 is going to be, if it's going to be 13 or 16, but even with that, it is such a rewarding show to watch, because as the viewer, you are given what you want, you are given the information you need. And there are twists you can work out, you can see coming, there are things that you can, see coming, but then think, no, it's not going to happen, and then bam, it happens. It's just fantastic. Also, I think this show has a very good representation. It is another thing that I love. I mean, everything about the show is my favourite thing. Quickly I have to say its soundtrack is brilliant, but a lot of nostalgia. But this show is something that it covers a lot of politics that I agree with strongly, or it not even that, it's not even like overly political, it's very representative of the world we are in now. In a sense, the alien plotline is very sort of putting the refugee crisis, putting migrants and illegal immigrants into a different light. But the show also has characters who are undocumented. You find this out at the beginning of the first episode, is not a big spoiler. The main character's father is an undocumented immigrant, and the show touches on that. The main character is Latina. That is something that informs her story. The racism that the town of Roswell might have, or like, shows her family for certain reasons that are plot things that it gets kind of worse. But things like that is America. I mean, okay, I'm British, but that is a huge thing in America right now. And I know that me as a white girl, I'm not the best expert, so I'm not going to go into it at length. And I know it's a problem in the UK as well. Racism, and especially with the rise of the far right, is getting worse, and it sickens me. But I think this show is a really good way to shine a light on that, and kind of, if they can compare it to the Alien drama, although the aliens obviously are white, so they get to pass under the radar, but kind of, I think they do it really well. They have also touched on things such as gun violence, the access to guns. But again, I'm saying this, but it's not in your face. These are like often one episode plots, or, things that happen in one scene. It is not a show that, I adore Supergirl, but sometimes it will throw the political message at you and keep whacking you over the head with it. And I know that annoys some people. Roswell does not do that. It's much subtler. It feels natural within the narrative, and only on reflection sometimes you're like, oh yeah, they've been pro-choice, or discussing kind of that in an episode or two, but there's just, I don't know, I'm probably not explaining it brilliantly. There is also a character, kind of, as it develops in a lot of flashbacks, mainly this character, but you kind of deal with addiction problems, but also other things that might cause that, and potential mental illnesses, potential bipolar disorder. That's something that is still with sort of flashbacky stuff with this character being explored a bit further, but that I love. But I think one of the best bits of representation for me is a character who is disabled. He has a prosthetic leg, and when the actor is able-bodied, but I know that in season 1, they show him initially needing a cane or a walking stick, sorry, and then by the end he's kind of able to be okay without it. And I was watching an interview with the actor recently where he said that they got some comments after season 1 that they didn't portray it in the most, perhaps, I mean, they did their best in season 1, don't get me wrong, but that maybe there were some times where they didn't portray it in the most realistically. You could kind of forget that he was disabled at times. I mean, there were other shots where you see his stump of his leg. I just think that, like, apparently in season 1 they got feedback, and so in season 2 they have made a real effort to make it even more apparent that he has this disability, because people in real life with disabilities, that's something you see so rarely on TV. And I think this show is doing a good job of trying to portray it better. And again, I'm an able-bodied person, so I'm not going to try and not go on about it too much, but all these things I'm talking about, but just for me at least, I feel like it's one of the best attempts at portraying this that I've seen in a long time. And something else I wanted to add about this is that yes, he has his disability, yes, they show that, but they don't make it be something that defines him. I know I'm talking about it a lot here, but he is just a character that is brave and strong and has relationship dramas and family problems, but he just is also someone that has a prosthetic leg. It is not something that defines his character. It is not something that his character is all about. It is basically just something that is there with his character. That character's blonde, that character, he's, so I love that it's not like there is a huge plotline all about you know, what happened to him or how he's dealing with it. It is just something that gets mentioned occasionally like it would in real life, but it is just who he is and just a part of him, but only a small part of him because he is such a rounded character that we're still getting to learn more about and see develop. And I think that's really important as well, because a lot of disabled characters, it kind of, from what I can think of, the main disabled characters I can think of in TV, it becomes sort of a huge part of their main plotline, or it's something that is what their character is all about rather than just being a facet of them, which in real life disabled people have many more facets to them than just their disability. And then you have one of the main characters is bisexual, he uses the term. One of the main characters is gay, and you know, I think that what I love about their relationship within the show, I mean, I'm not spoiling anything with this at all because there's a lot going on with all these relationships, but their relationship is treated in exactly the same light as the straight relationship. There's kind of two main relationships, especially in season 1, and they get the same kind of level of backstory, the same level of importance, and I think that is really important to me because in a lot of times an LGBT ship can become the token ship, the side ship, the less important thing, and there are some shows where that is just because of the structure of the show. You know, in Supergirl, Alex's relationship is never going to have the same screen time as Kara's because that would be weird because she is Supergirl. But in more ensemble shows, still LGBT relations can be pushed to the side. But also, I do find, and I'm not trying to be offensive in any way, shape or form, but I find sometimes, occasionally shows will try and overcompensate for that by bigging up their LGBT ship and maybe not actually providing the content in the show all the time, but in the talking about the show or sometimes within the show, they'll give you like move the straight ship, I'm thinking about Shadowhunters here, into a slightly more lesser category to the LGBT ship, when again it's an ensemble cast. They should be at an equal pairing, and I think Roswell is something that gets that balance perfectly. And you know, I love Malik, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be like anti-Shadowhunters, I love it, but I think by the end they kind of were really just, I mean, they were proud of having such a brilliant LGBT ship, and I was proud of them too. I love Malik, but I think sometimes that overshadowed the rest of the show a little bit. But this show is about Roswell, I'm talking about Roswell right now, so that is something that I truly enjoy as well. But really at the heart of the show for me is the characters. I saw actually, you know, people talking about how plot-based the show is, but its characters are at the heart of it. There is a plot, it is there, and there are a lot of characters, but they are all brilliant. And maybe some of the characters, you know, I know there's one of the sort of side main characters who they said in season 1 they just didn't have time to give her as much development as they would like. She's getting that in season 2. They, you know, they have made a note, like they wanted to do more of that, but obviously with constraints and only being a shorter show rather than like shows that have like 22, 24 episodes can cram in so much more. But this show I think is a perfect length. They really, the mysteries, the developments, the twists that you don't see coming, there are twists that you can kind of predict. There are just so many beautiful character moments, and the acting is fantastic, and this cast is brilliant. They all get on so well, it seems. You know, it's one of those sets that you would just love to be on. They are quite active on social media with live tweeting the show, with interacting with fans. They do sort of weekly takeovers of the thing. There are the 2 Vlamises, which, you know, there is one real Vlamis. If you know about the show, you'll know what that means. But this cast, honestly, I really love them, and that chemistry translates onto the screen, and I'm so excited to see where this show is going to go next. It has already been renewed for season 3. Season 3 was renewed before season 2 even started airing. So, you know, we have more of Roswell to come, and I'm so glad about that. So this was just, let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video, if it was something you'd like to see more of with other shows that I watch, trying to convince people to watch. I'm more than happy to discuss it with you in the comments, either on YouTube or on Patreon, about whether or not, any other questions you might have about Roswell, and yeah, just let me know what you thought of this video, because this is the first one of these kind of just me talking and giving my opinion on things videos that I've done. Let me know what worked, let me know what didn't, and yes, so yeah, thank you for watching. Go watch Roswell, New Mexico if you haven't already, and if you have, go watch it again because it's amazing.
Aliens have already ruined your life.
This is too much. Tell me about it.
I'm just a guy from Roswell.